What's up, guys? It's Kalo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but welcome back to another episode of The Cutting Board, and today, getting you ready, I'm joined by the one and only Aiden. Why don't you say what's up? Oh, he's got a stance. He's got a stance today. We're just standing like this. We're mean mugging because we're talking about acquisitions, and whenever this stuff happens, you have to get mean sometime. You gotta, you have to, like, lock in to business mode, because I don't know if you heard, but PlayStation might be dabbling in the world of acquisitions. They might be acquiring Fromsoftware's parent company, Kadokawa, and I want to talk to you today because you're the designated Dark Souls-like game specialist. I classify you as a lot of specialist, but that's what you are.
I mean, I've dabbled in Dark Souls.
You dabbled in the dark arts, but
I mean, I have over 1,000 hours in Elden Ring.
If that's not a seal of approval, I don't know what is. I want to first lay the groundwork. There was a report that came out that, yeah, there might be something brewing. Then Kadokawa did release an official statement saying there is a letter of intent to purchase the whole company, but there's a little bit of a little snafu here, and if I can kind of pull up the shares here. As of right now, Kadokawa owns 70% stake in Fromsoftware. Sony currently owns around 14%. As for Kadokawa as the bigger company, Sony has 2% of that, but other companies like Tencent, they have their hands in the mix there as well. So, obviously, a lot of working parts, and for those of you who don't know, I didn't know this, Acquire, who are the people who made Mario and Luigi Brothership, they're included in this all. So, I don't know. That's a little bit of information for you. I want to get your thoughts on this first. First of all, does it happen? Are we going through with this?
I mean, I, for one, definitely see Sony purchasing Kadokawa. I do not see a world where they do not purchase them unless Kadokawa just straight up says no. Like, we're not allowing you to purchase us, which I highly doubt because, I mean, you wave enough dollar signs around and anyone's willing to just kind of give up on whatever they say.
I'm gonna say that's true. I mean, I'd sell out. I'd sell my YouTube channel for, I don't know, 10 million. Let's do it. Let's sell out here. That
one
really
thing that I
bodes
see
well.
so many people mentioning, and I've seen it on so many reels, that people are going, this is going to be the end of From Software, or, oh, this is like the worst acquisition ever. And I'm like, no. I mean, really, consider it like this. Yes, Dark Souls has been on other platforms other than PlayStation, but From Software is mostly a PlayStation company.
Yeah. Can't argue that.
They are. I mean, it makes more sense for them to work with PlayStation or work with Sony than it does for them to work with Microsoft.
My thing there, whenever I see a Dark Souls, whenever I see an Elden Ring, like, let's just say I'm a casual person, no clue where loyalties lie in all this, I'd look at Elden Ring and I'd look at Dark Souls and be like, yeah, I would be led to believe they're owned by PlayStation. They look like PlayStation games. I mean, you talk about Bloodborne, every other video here, it all fits. It all just makes too much sense. And I'd go as far to say, at least in my personal opinion, as a fan of the brand, as someone who covered that whole acquisition top to bottom, the ABK deal is far worse than this one. Like, as far as, like, things at play, things that could happen, legal problems. And speaking of legal problems with this, the only thing I could see actually causing this to not go through is the anime side of things, where Sony owns Funimation and Crunchyroll. They condensed that company, and now that you factor in Kadokawa and their presence in the anime world, that's when monopoly talks start to bubble up, and I'm like, okay, that's the thing that'll cause this to go through, or not go through in that sense. Yeah. Not the game side of things, which is weird.
They could just talk to Kadokawa about just purchasing From Software from them.
That could work too,
as
yeah.
Well. I mean, that could be a whole thing where they just talk about purchasing From Software only from them, just so they can have the gaming side locked in. And And I know a lot of people have been pointing out too that Microsoft is now the games for everybody thing. We don't believe in exclusives. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I
It
don't think
is.
that they're ever going to not care about exclusives. They may allow other games to eventually be on other platforms, but I feel like no matter what, they'll care about timed exclusives
Yeah.
at
Yep.
the very least. But Sony is forever going to care about exclusivity.
That's their
I
thing.
mean, PS5 has outsold Xbox Series X, PS4 outsold Xbox One. I mean, Sony's been on the rise over Microsoft, so they're going to double down on the whole exclusivity thing. And I know as soon as From Software gets bought by them, all of From Software stuff is going to end up being exclusive to PlayStation.
I'm glad you bring up that point because we do have somewhat of a gauge as far as a company that I would liken to From Software if they do get purchased. Bungie, where they're under the PlayStation umbrella, but they allow From Software to operate on their own accord, which we could live in a world where that does happen. They get bought by them, but they're still From Software as we know and love them, and whatever. There could also be a world where they get Kadokawa as the whole company gets purchased, and then we look at these games like, all right, they're exclusive to the PlayStation 5 platform, but much like God of War, much like Spider-Man 2, they come over to the PC a year or two down the line. Is that what I essentially want? Personally, I don't play Elden Ring on my Xbox, so I don't care personally. Let's just let that happen. That can happen on the PC, it can go to Steam, and I'll be fine. You still get Elden Ring everywhere. My only thing, and this happened with the ABK deal, and Phil Spencer talked about legacy titles, titles that have certain merit on other consoles. You remove an Elden Ring, you remove a potential Dark Souls from a console like Xbox. We've seen with Square Enix their problems of just gating off to the PlayStation. Does that come at a detriment to the next Elden Ring? Does that cause problems for the next Dark Souls? Bloodborne, I think, whether you slice it, that's still going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. I'm just gating that one off. But Dark Souls, Elden Ring, does that cause problems for them later down the line?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't envision a world where they just like let them be like Bungie. In fact, I don't even think Bungie, once Destiny 2 is done, I don't even think Bungie's going to end up being like for every platform. I think it's going to end up being them being PlayStation exclusive. But I could be wrong on that. I mean, Destiny 2 can last for however much longer. I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't play that game. So, it's whatever. But with PlayStation buying From Software or Kadokawa or whatever, I fully see them going the exclusivity route with that because that's a big name that draws a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
and that can pull a lot of people from Xbox and Microsoft, like just pull them straight from there. And that would make Sony more of a powerhouse with the PlayStation, especially if another Elden Ring gets released.
Oh, Elden Ring 2. That's going to break the
Yeah.
internet.
Well, there won't be an Elden Ring 2 if I remember, because like they didn't say there's going to be
Mm.
another Elden Ring. I think they said that it's close to what the perfect game is that Miyazaki wants, but it's not actually his perfect game. So whatever his perfect game, quote unquote, will be
The next Souls
is like
game.
it could probably be PlayStation exclusive then. And I wouldn't be surprised. And you know what? I will point out another thing just for the sake of it. This is a weird coincidence, and I wrote about it earlier today.
Go check out
So
that
people know
article.
when this is when this is being recorded. But at the Joystick Awards, Miyazaki accepted an award. He didn't accept it in person, but he recorded a video for it. And in it, he specifically said that From Software is working on multiple new titles. Sorry, he said various new titles, to quote him. And so with that, the timing of Sony wanting to purchase them seems very weird to me,
Yeah.
and I would just go out on a limb to say Bloodborne 2 because I have to add that in.
Gotta
But
push
it
the
just seems
narrative.
yeah, it just seems like this would be the likely time for it. If they are working on it, it just seems kind of really likely considering all of that. But it could just be coincidental.
Well, that's what, like, in general, these acquisitions, that's why companies go out to do it. It's for the future. And
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, whenever Microsoft was doing the ABK deal, they were like, all right, Black Ops 6 is coming out in 2025 or 2024, whatever year it is, right now. They're going to be like, all right, how do we do this with Game Pass, blah, blah, blah. If the deal goes through by this time, can we release all the games on Game Pass, yada, yada, yada. I'm sure those talks are being had now over at Kadokawa and between PlayStation and Sony, at least I'd like to think, where it's like, all right, we kind of know you're releasing the next Dark Souls, and let's just say Bloodborne or whatever. The next Souls-like game is coming here. This is what to expect. This is how we can market, blah, blah, blah. Because you have to plan for all this. I would like to think, like, I'm for it. Normally I'm like, I don't really know how I feel about one company owning everything in that regard. But, you know, these are the single player games that PlayStation loves. This is just in their wheelhouse, and it makes too much sense. Like, I bag on the ABK deal, but that made sense because Xbox is all about shooters and they want more games and they're all about the cloud and blah 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 blah. There's a lot of different things at play. Again, the only thing that concerns me is this anime thing, and it's so weird that anime could be the thing to cause this to go off the rails. But I look at that and I'm like, okay, we were at war with the FTC for well over a year about monopoly and exclusives and blah blah blah. I can easily see something being made here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I fully envisioned that they could just be looking at, hey, let's partner or let's just purchase your gaming sides, like all of the gaming companies that you own, and then that's it. All the development studios, good. Anime studios, just leave them alone. They could very well work out a deal like that.
Yeah,
Or they could just work out a deal where it's only from software that they purchase.
Or I'm also looking at this and like what you're saying, Xbox and Toys for Bob have this loose kind of relationship thing where it's like we're working on the next game and it's between Xbox and Toys for Bob. I can live in a world where Fromsoftware does that with Sony and PlayStation where they're like, yeah, our next game, Dark Souls 4 or whatever, it's there for PlayStation. I mainly think anything that comes out of this deal, though, like, let's just say, I approve the merger. I think it'll happen. But I don't think the games will be exclusive. I do think we're going to get a timed exclusive where it's like, all right, Elden Ring 2, let's just say that happens.
Yeah.
Comes out.
If it's not exclusive, it's at least going to be timed.
Yeah, it has to be timed.
Sony is too well known for being exclusive with their stuff to not make an exclusivity thing.
Oh yeah, no, especially after like there was that contract in place for Call of Duty stuff. I think I seen like last week the final timed exclusive deal between Call of Duty and PlayStation expired, and that was for Modern Warfare 3, if I remember correctly. So in what world where I think that like, hey, Dark Souls 4, yeah, that's going to be a timed exclusive. What was that one? Control, I think it was, or something like that, where that was the timed exclusive and it just came to Xbox. Black Myth Wukong, Lord knows if that Xbox port is going to happen because of an exclusive deal. It's things like that, yeah, okay, like from software under PlayStation, timed exclusivity, sign, seal, and deliver. Let's get that done.
Yeah, which honestly, I mean, I would say too that the exclusivity stuff is really what drives people to PlayStation overall.
Oh yeah,
it really is. I would not say that PlayStation, like, I don't think that PlayStation would be beating Xbox in any sort if they were like, oh yeah, all of our games are going to be everywhere at launch.
Yeah. That's what
or
kills
we
me.
won't have any exclusives. Like if they were going the Xbox route and saying, "Hey, we want our games everywhere," then everyone would just be like, it would probably be an even spread. It'd probably be even amounts of people on either side. But the reason why PlayStation is selling more or doing more in general is just because they have those exclusives. So people are gravitating more towards PlayStation. And so there's never going to be a world where they don't do that.
It's just like Nintendo. We're never gonna see a Mario game on a PlayStation or Xbox. Watch, I just say that.
Yeah.
Fast forward 2, 3 years down the line, and Mario's on Xbox. I don't know. But yeah, that's why we go play Nintendo. That's why I went out to bought a Switch. That is the quintessential reason why, like, we go to PlayStation to play God of War, to play Spider-Man. And now recently, yes, they switched that narrative, but I do think we're not in the world where it's like PlayStation no longer does exclusives because it doesn't work. No, it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of what
Yeah.
title does what.
And just saying, you mentioned Mario coming over to the Xbox and stuff, and it just made me think. And feel free to watch video, people. But we did one on the Pal World and Nintendo lawsuit, and you know what? I just like I want to envision a world where, like, where Pocket Pair just like succeeds, wins the lawsuit, and then turns the table on Nintendo and sues them,
Mm.
wins, and then you just see like a Mario. Then you see memes of like Mario like wearing a barrel with a sign that just says like "looking for work," and then it just like shows that he's getting ported to Xbox.
Did
I
you?
I want to see a world like that.
I,
It won't happen, but
I'd be surprised, but did you hear that story about how Xbox way back in the day went to Nintendo and were like, "We want to acquire you," and apparently they went into the boardroom, pitched it, and then they got laughed out of the room, allegedly.
wow,
Apparently
no,
that
I've
went
never
down.
heard that.
Apparently that did go down, and I'm just like, and also during the ABK trial, there were emails like, "Oh, it'd be nice to acquire Nintendo." These things get floated out there, whether they're fact or whether they're actually
Well,
pursuing it. We
you
don't
know, I
know.
mean, if Nintendo got bought, then maybe they'd make a good Pokemon game or like a good Zelda game.
That's my
Maybe.
thing, though. Like, if this is going way well, not really. It kind of pertains to this. If Nintendo was like, here's Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, timed exclusive, just on Nintendo. Then a year it comes to Xbox and PlayStation. You can't tell me people would leave the Switch to go play Pokemon on a more capable console, whether that is the PlayStation 5 Pro, which you just got your 30th
Oh, they
anniversary.
would.
Yeah, it's like they would. Like, there's a better
They would
performing console.
immediately.
Yeah, and it would sell insanely well. But,
Honestly, I think that even if there was just a partnership of Nintendo with like Xbox or PlayStation or whatever, I think it would just benefit in general because it would probably make Pokemon games better in the future.
imagine, like, a Dark Souls esque Pokemon game. Oh, uh, who knows? Or Mario? The Legend of Zelda, Dark Souls style. Give me that.
I mean, someone did that with mods.
Nintendo goes after the mods. We don't talk about
Okay,
them.
I'm just gonna point this out. Anybody who hasn't seen it, look up Dark Souls 3 Legend of Zelda because someone just did all of Dark Souls 3 while modding Link into it, and it's amazing.
Again, I've been playing Ocarina of Time, and I'm like, this in a modern, like, Dark Souls esque thing. Perfect. Call me crazy. I don't know. People will probably hate that I just said that, but that's what we're here for. We're here to say controversial things. But in general, to pertain back to Fromsoftware and PlayStation, so I think we're both in agreement this deal potentially goes through.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't see a reason why it wouldn't. Even with the anime thing, it's either they buy it all or they're going to at least buy from software.
I think we do live in a world where they're like, hey, you know what? Keep the anime, whatever. Give us the Elden Ring devs, Game of the Year nominee, by the way. Do with that what you will. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see a reason why it would be bad. I mean, everyone seems to freak out online. Like I've seen so many people on Instagram freaking out about it, going, "Oh, it's gonna be so terrible. What is the world coming to?" And it's like,
I
Dude,
just,
stop freaking out. It's not a bad thing. Like,
I don't know what I'm missing.
honestly,
I don't know what I'm missing. Maybe if you know, comment down below, or like join
I
our
mean, the
Discord and
only
give us a
argument
lecture.
only argument I can see is just that you're letting too many companies, like bigger companies, buy smaller development studios and sort of create this like two monopoly system. It's the only negative I see.
Okay, that's fair.
Where it's like, yeah, I mean, you can make an argument of there's two like basically monopolies on. You have PlayStation who owns like a shitload of different development studios, and then you have Microsoft who also owns them. And if they were to switch to that route of everything is exclusive, then that would be bad. But I mean, PlayStation, like Sony's only doing exclusivity with certain games. They're not doing it with everything.
Yeah, they put out what was it? Well, God of War, Ragnarok, and Spider-Man 2 is coming to the PC.
Yeah.
It's like it never doesn't come to another platform. It's just you gotta wait like a year or two, and by then DLC comes out for the game, so you get a more complete version of the game. So it's like, just be patient. Play some of your backlog that I totally have like 40 plus games on my backlog I need to get through. But that's we're coming up on the new year. That's gonna be my thing. I'm gonna get through my backlog and start new in the coming year. That's what I'm gonna do.
Kalo 2025 gets through 40 games in his backlog and then still makes time for GTA 6.
Clear your calendars. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be playing that game all day. You'll never see me.
You have a lot of streaming days ahead of you. Come on.
We're gonna pull a 24-hour stream. I'm just gonna be here playing GTA all day, every day. That's my thing. That's gonna be my new. That's gonna be my new like commit. I have to.
As soon as GTA 6 comes out, we'll just like clear our calendars, and then it'll just be like every day we're just gonna stream like every day of the week, and it'll just be nonstop GTA.
Nonstop, and you know what? Also continues. More episodes of The Cutting Board, Hot Topic, and plenty of other shows here at Game Sandwich, because that about does it here for this episode of The Cutting Board. We hope you guys enjoyed. Also, if you want to keep this conversation going, if you have any gripes about the gaming world, join our Discord. Links to that is all in the video description down below. Subscribe, do all that in between, because you're going to be supporting this here small team of people trying to make the gaming world better, or, depending on who you ask, burn it down. I don't know. It depends on the day. It depends on the topic.
Burn it down.
See? There we go. There's one. But that about does it here for this episode of The Cutting Board. We'll see you guys next time. If you enjoyed today's video and want more content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for all your news, rumors, and reviews. And we'll see you guys next time.